Hello and welcome to Grow Your Yoga. My name is Todd McLaughlin. I'm here at Native Yoga Center. Today we are going to focus on Paschimottanasana. You can 100% improve your hamstring flexibility. I need to figure out where you want to begin and where you are, and then we're going to add and build from here. All right, Paschimottanasana, the name of the pose is West Intense Stretching Pose, because the idea is that the front side of the body represents the east and the back side of the body represents the west. In Paschimottanasana, Paschima means west, Uttana means intense, so it's an intense stretch of the back side of the body. So this is a part of the body that a lot of us hold tension, the hamstring muscles. And so I want you to practice come down into a seated position, and I want to just have you assess what is your range of motion in relation to being able or not to touch the toes. So first, just bring your legs together, feet together, take your big toes, touch them together, and turn the toes back towards you a little bit. And then just take your hands and see how close can you get to your toes, right? So first, assess where you are, and it's a good idea to log your ability to improve by either take a picture of yourself or just simply remember and recognize. All right, now what we typically do if our hamstrings are tight is we try to recruit range of motion from the spinal column. What that looks like is if I'm here and I'm attempting to touch my toes, if I don't move my pelvis at all, and I now let my spinal column, my back bend forward, I'm getting closer to touching my toes, but really all of the motion is the stretch of the back. And it's not 100% addressing what's going on in the hamstrings. Now, another thing, if I say, all right, I want you to keep your back completely straight, don't recruit any bendability from your spine and touch your toes. What will happen is I'll get locked in a position where I just can't seem to go any further. The next thing that will give is the knees are going to bend. Because notice that if my knees bend, I can touch, but if I straighten my legs, it pulls me back. Now this is because of where the hamstring muscles attach on the base of your pelvis, and they also attach on the back of the leg. So there is two main joints that it crosses. And so with that being said, in this process of coming forward, because of the attachment site on the ischial tuberosity at the base of the hip, the muscles are at their end. They don't feel like they can go any further, and therefore that element of grounding the spine is where I recruit from the spine. So what we can do, two main ways to approach. One, if I take a bolster and my hamstrings are really tight and I put something underneath the back of the knees, I'm just going to build a little support system that I can relax onto. So you might have to work on just keeping your hands on the floor behind you, and squeezing the legs will be one way to kind of work your hamstring muscles in the process of coming forward. Now, if you have a little bit of support under here and you start coming forward, this also will lessen the amount of intensity that's going to be placed on your lower back. So one good way to start is to go ahead and even do a really big knee bend and start to work on touching your toes with your knees bent. Because if you can increase the ability to flex at the hip joints and the femurs, this is a really big part of the Paschimottanasana, the West Intense Stretch Pose. You can definitely do this. What it takes is practice every single day. A little bit, at least a little bit every day. Practice this tutorial and work on first just hinging at your hips. Feel if you have the ability to bring your chest on your thighs. You might have to bend your knees a lot. You might find that you go to bring your chest to your thighs and it just gets locked up right here. Now, if that's the case, or this is the case, what I would like for you to do is hold on to your legs and practice the ability to extend the spine, which is the expression of like an up dog or a cow pose, and then go ahead and flex your spine, which is the expression of a cat pose, or we could say down dog. So by working this sort of range is how you're going to be able to start to feel the connection of your hips to your legs and start to work this movement of what's called anterior tilt and posterior tilt. So start off with really simple, gentle movement like this, This can be done in a myriad of different angles, but I'm going to focus all on the seated position with the legs out in front. All right, so once you've established, okay, I'm aware that I have the ability to flex at my pelvis. Now, just take your feet out a little bit further. And in this situation, I'm going to recommend take any sort of prop. You don't have to buy a fancy yoga strap. Grab a towel from your kitchen or whatever and hook it around your feet. Now, my hands are a little closer to my feet. Well, actually, I'll say they're a little further away from my feet because I'm holding the strap. And so with that being said, I want you to do the same thing. See if there is the ability to rock back and forth with a little more straightening of the knees. And then we're going to try that again. Take your foot an inch or two forward, both feet. Try the same thing. See if you can rock your chest towards your thighs and rock back. Almost think of it like when you're on a rowboat or on a rowing machine where you're going back and forth like this. Very similar type of concept. All right, so with that being said, you're still able to make this sort of motion. Go ahead and see if you can get your legs all the way straight. You might need to lengthen the strap, and when you can get your legs straight, practice again this sort of flexion. Flexion here and extension here. Try to build the ability to manipulate your pelvis into movement back and forth with your legs straight out in front of you. The next stage is to walk your hands along the strap a little closer and do the same thing. All right, now once you reach your edge where you're like, that's as far as I can go, I cannot cinch up anymore. Try the flexion extension, which is going to be really difficult if you're at your edge. So what I recommend is actually back off of your edge. Give yourself a little bit of leeway to be able to create some movement in your pelvis. Now go into extension of your spine. Now go into letting the spine flex as far forward as it'll go, even if you stop in your tracks here. And now hold it, and we're going to stay for about 30 seconds to a minute. Breathe in and out of your nose. The big portion, the main thing I want to try to impress upon you. Pay attention to your breath. If you are holding your breath, or if you're getting that really tight feeling in your body, you have to relax. Soften the pose. In this case, I'm going to make this strap really long. And that way I can find some softness. And even if I'm here, just start to fold forward for 30 seconds to a minute every single day. Please try it. Use this video. Play it every day. Keep yourself motivated. Don't let a day go by. I promise you have 30 seconds in your day. I know you do. There's a way to build in 30 seconds into your day to focus on your own health and well-being. And this is a really good pose to help inspire range of motion in your pelvis. Now, a few more advanced tips for those of you that are making some progress. If you have the ability to grab your toes, there's quite a few different hand grips. In the old school ashtanga way, there was 4 different hand positions: catching the toes, taking the hands to the sides of the feet, taking the hands around the top of the feet, and then maybe even grabbing a wrist beyond the feet. So these are just different, deeper variations. It's just like if you're holding a strap and you're cinching up on the strap. It's the same thing, more or less, just taking your hands further and further down around the feet. Let's see. The other thing that typically happens is when the knees bend, as you get a little more advanced, if you do not have any back pain, let me back up. Do you have back pain? If you have back pain, I want you to focus a little bit more on not flexing your spine, keeping your spine vertical. Now, sometimes just this sort of motion with the body is what causes pain for some of us, depending upon where there's different bulges in the discs in between the vertebrae. However, find a position where you do not have pain. This is very important. I've learned this the hard way. I'm still learning this. So you have to find an area where you don't have pain. If that means coming way, 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 way back here, I have no pain, but here I feel some pain. I need you to back up to the point that you don't have pain. Now what I want you to do, squeeze your leg muscles really strong and do a combination of contract, release. That's your quads, your thigh muscles. The quads are the antagonists to the protagonists of your hamstrings in this situation. Depends on how you want to look at it. But squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Start to feel your ability to actually engage the muscles on the front of the thighs. There's a really interesting concept called Reciprocal inhibition, which is where we are attempting to contract the muscles on the front of the thighs to engage the opening of the musculature on the back side of the body, or in this case, the hamstrings. So you just kind of give a little squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Now try to squeeze your thighs, hold them squeezing, and see if you can lift your chest a little bit more and manipulate your pelvis to come forward. The whole time, pay attention to how your back feels. Naturally, if you have a hamstring tear, pull, or injury, back off from doing this for a little while. Like maybe stick with being way off of it where you don't feel any hamstring pain, and just practice exercising your legs. And there's a whole bunch of other information I can impart for you on this, but right now I'm going to focus on this pose. All right, so with that being said, at some point, back pain, no back pain. I feel no back pain. I can hold my toes. What to do with my shoulders? If my shoulders hunch up around my ears, basically we're going to attempt to bring the shoulder blades down the back. There's a pose prior to Paschimottanasana called Dandasana, where your shoulders come down and your shoulders go back. I'm going to attempt to keep the shoulder down in back position while I reach forward, so that as you pull, you take the muscles on your back. There's one's called the lower trapezius. You contract the lower trapezius, and that pulls your shoulder blades down. So you engage those muscles on your back, and as you start to fold forward, just really feel your body and breathe. This is so simple, but it's harder than it sounds, right? So I know you're getting better at this. You can do this. I just want to keep encouraging you. This is completely possible. But the idea is you have to be gradual over a long period of time. When I say you can do this, that doesn't mean like maybe right now you can touch your head all the way to your shins, but you can definitely find where your edge is in the forward bend. And then little by little, breath by breath, day by day, session by session, before you know it, you're much deeper in the pose. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Ask them. Thank you so much. I'm here every single Thursday for you. I just want to impart information about yoga. I love yoga. Yoga has been one of the greatest forces in my life, positive force that's helped me to change, evolve, shift. And I believe it's here for you as well. So thank you for joining and listening, paying attention. If you have any specific issues or questions that you would like for me to address, I will make a tutorial specific for you. Thanks so much. Again, visit us at nativeyogacenter.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.